Bing. We're live, so I'm Michael. Going to do some stuff on Autograders. Just noticed that starting this Hangout from the Autograders project, I guess it's updated. We've got projects. Have we got a link to the event instance? I mean, I guess we can see. So we can see here in the past events that the event instance, it's sort of connected back. It's live. That's all working. But we basically didn't get any updates in the we didn't get any updates on the Slack, which is kind of weird. Now I had just been playing with this Slack. Let's have a look. I've got to find the settings again. I'd just been getting air brake integration set up, so that in principle air brake will. I mean, I might just test the integration. If I saved that, is it saved? If I test integration there. So there we go. We've got a test message from air brake there. What I had been, but we have because the Agile Vector setting that we're on, we have a maximum of 10 integrations. So I just asked Sam Pretty about removing a Slack API tester from here. Although actually, I think that didn't count towards our limit, because when I removed it, it didn't. Yeah. Didn't actually free up a. Oh, we have, what do we have? We have custom integration 1 configured. Not configured, yeah. But I wonder if some aspect of website 1 is kind of like had been using. I guess if we just have a look at the Heroku logs minus TN1500, it's our production. Tail is not, that's NT. Always. It would be, what? Here are the accepted flags. Yeah, minus T minus N. Do I now have to do these separately?
Don't know.
Yeah. So this is the event instance controller. So this looks like, yeah, received in project ID 1. It came in no associated event. Yeah. Lots of memory cursor exceeded stuff going on. Now, that sort of implies that our Slack integration, I mean, the Agile bot maybe blew out there. Certainly got some errors there. So it looks like some things came in. I mean, we pushed out a change, didn't we, in terms of those channels?
Yeah, a slight one, yeah.
Yeah. Now I ran the stand-up that I ran this morning notified properly, didn't it? So we've got a Java project now. I mean, yeah, the scrums ran fine. We had at least one person there has hit that. I don't know if there's something in the. Do I have even the latest Agile bot stuff? Bitpool origin master. I guess what we don't have is we don't have Airbrake installed on the Agile bot. So if there are errors, then we lose them. I mean, I can see them in the log there.
We have 2 Autograder keys.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Somehow we have 2 Autograder keys.
We do, don't we? Do you want to now? But was one of them was beta? But one of them was beta sauces, right? So one of them is the beta sauce.
Yeah.
Right, but of course, I guess it doesn't make sense in the context of the thing. I mean, I guess we just need to remove this. I assume the second one was the beta sauce things. Do you just want to do a pull request to remove the second one? And I'll try and set up Airbrake for Agile bot.
All right.
So for Airbrake, so we want a GitHub and a Slack integration. Do we need to? I wonder if we need to do more than, because like with the Airbrake, we had to set up to set up Airbrake. We had to do the gem. See, we've got these scripts. And can we, is there like, I mean, in principle, I can just, so it's a website, notify, add Airbrake integration. That into Slack. There, save that in there. Got GitHub. GitHub repo URL. Does it need to be the full thing? Agile. Okay, GitHub integration added. But then, so the question is, can we have Air brake for Whobot. Oh, it has an air brake script. Do we have that one? No. Apparently, we've got a Whobot script air brake. It just needs to have.
What?
So I'm just looking at. There is a like for the agile bot to send stuff to air brake. I assume it has to be sort of enabled so that the errors are caught and put through. So how to enable Whobot for air brake. A couple of people have done different. It's called cloud pipes. All right, this is like get Whobot to show you air brake errors. Ugh. I don't know. I mean, Whobot is basically a air brake for Node. Air brake, npm install air brake. I guess I've got to do it on. Anyway, did you get a pull request to? Okay. It's one of those things there. It's like, oh, the sequence of different bits and pieces.
Wait, what is going on with this pull? Why do I keep opening on Sam Pretty's channel?
On Sam Pretty's bot GitHub repo.
Because when you go to, for some reason now, when you automatically try to open a pull request because you were forked from his bot, it like defaults to opening it against him.
But for you locally, is that because you've got his thing as the origin? Oh, I see. When you're doing opening the pull request through the interface.
Yeah.
Right.
Change that they've made.
Say that again. Sorry.
I think that might be a recent change that they've made.
Oh, really? Okay.
What?
I've just.
There we go.
Okay. Well, I think the thing to do is maybe just to deploy that and then just go. I mean, I think there's a bigger project here to set up air brake on, which I don't want to get into right now. You can just get it working. So there's issues, new issue, set up air brake. Yeah.
Oh shit! Why are there 7 files changed? Let me redo this pull request.
Okay.
It's
the idea folder has got added.
Yeah, all that shit. We need to
add that to the git ignore.
Well, let me. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So you're redoing that pull request.
Yeah, let me. Okay, we don't want it against that. We want it.
Yeah, I mean, we could, in principle, detach the agile bot from Sanpretty's fork.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay. Okay. Yes, right. So I guess if we confirm that that merge, that will then, in principle, be. I mean, I guess what we didn't do was file a bug report there, which was that. I mean, what I should go and do is get the failure that. Okay, let's just get this. Yeah, that was the failure. Yeah, crap. Autograder. Hangout failed to post. Slack notification. Saw this error in the AgileBot log. Seemed clear that we had an issue with 2 Autograder keys in the hash. Okay. Yeah, so of course, ideally that pull request would have come from this 5 thing. So what I can do, go back in there, is I can go in here and say that this fixes 5. Oh, I thought I just created the, what was, really? That's weird. I've got the issues. That was the, what's the idea of that? 16. Fixes 16. Update that. And then I can go back to the issue.
Looks like you already closed it.
Yeah, I already merged it. So I'm just now going to close the issue. It's just to attach the, I mean, yeah, so I have mixed feelings about the Agile bot. Anyway, but so then, in principle, it will take some time for that to deploy, and I guess we can test that by starting another Hangout again in a bit. In the meantime, did you have a chance to look through my notes from this morning about?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so very, very kind of weird. Well, I've been pursuing the test coverage issue, which I've managed to replicate.
Locally.
Yeah, although intermittently and variably and in strange ways. In that, basically, if I run the grader, actually let's run. I mean, I've got an acceptance test for this issue, which is this. So I've got the thing submitted from the student. The students use Factory Girl. It's the same one that we were working on the other day in order to try and nail down that thing that so that the Factory Girl doesn't break it completely. Yeah, so Oh, that's interesting. It gets 0 this time. Anyway, so this is the students thing. Now this is interesting. This is now failing in a different way from the way it was before. Huh. But so anyway, this wraps it, because basically, as far as I can see, when I run the students' code independently, it all passes and they get 100% coverage. So they should be getting like a full 100 thing. But this one actually here is now saying there's a fatal error with your submission. It either timed out or caused an exception, which I wasn't getting before. I guess what I will do here is put that in. Let's say the Autograders. Oops, auto notification failed. Here, and on graders in, and we do have a viewer. Hello, viewer. Live stream is here. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Da, 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 da. Ah. Now let's put that in general. Okay. And it's supposed to right. So when I was running this before, what was happening was this, is that I was getting effectively the identical failure that I would get in the grader, where it says the specs have failed. It's got, a lower coverage specifically on the controllers, or sometimes I think the controllers and the helpers, or not. Now, what happens is that so the grader runs. I mean, it's got, I tell you what I've done now. The thing I just changed now, right, is I've removed. Okay. I guess I'll put it back. What I was just experimenting with. So this is the homework 4 grader. It's the student submits some subset of the components of the assignment. What I've noticed is that the I just tried removing it. The homework 4 shell has this it has this additional migration that actually adds, it doesn't make any changes to the database, it just adds data to the database. And I don't particularly know why it does that, or why it's done there at the moment. And I was just experimenting with removing that because I had a suspicion that that was causing the problem. I guess I could just also go and look now on my not there, but on the pull request. So that's just, I was then also experimenting with, I guess, the Travis token and other bits and pieces. So this one will now have failed. Part of the annoying thing is that we don't have all of the queues running on the grader in general. And so this one, what are we getting here? Yeah, that one has failed in the same way as locally, but then also that one, and do I get another one as well? Have you got the grader all cloned locally for yourself?
Yeah, I do. I think so.
Cool.
Let me just say. Actually, maybe I don't.
Yeah. Well, you could be grabbing that in the background, but okay. So I'm just going to run that again. I put that in. Can I get back into the state that we were in before? So we can see from the homework for grader, and we were looking at this before when we were trying to work out what was happening with the factory girl. So it kind of ends up copying the student's submission into the framework that it has there. And so that's now, I think I'm going to have to roll back to an earlier state. So it does that. It does the set up the Rails app operation, which involves it doing the migration. And I've kind of checked that at the end of that migration, it's then got, it's basically, it's because this is running in test, it's basically pre-populated the test database with about 10 movies.
Okay.
So it then runs the student tests thing, which it doesn't yet run to prepare. It runs the student test thing here, and this break task only seems to it runs the cucumber and the RSpec back to back and formats it slightly differently. It doesn't seem to do anything fundamentally different. And when this runs as part of the grader run, we get this low coverage. And I can see from this student submission that they've got a couple of tests which are checking the contents coming back against the contents of the database. And it causes a couple of tests to fail because, so if we look, I've got an example over here. If we look at their tests, their controller, movies controller spec, they've got a couple of things here where they're expecting like the controller to assign the movies to be, exactly equal to the contents of the database. And they're using Factory Girl to control the contents of the database.
Yeah.
And because the migration has added like 10 extra movies, when it does this comparison here, it assigns movies in the controller, movie order release date. It doesn't quite make sense. Let's look at the controller as well. I mean, it somehow manages to get a mismatch here between what the controller assigns, which is allegedly taken from the database, and this other thing here. I don't know. I mean, these are the actual errors. If we look at the issue, like the actual error here, for example, is that it's saying the expected collection. That's what the controller assigned to the movies things contained. This is a smaller set of stuff, right? The thing that's appearing in the assigns movies there is just the set that appears here. It's like Star Wars, Blade Runner, Alien, what have you. And see, look at this. So this student is he still stuck on that?
Well, I got 2 cubes failing at this, but I won't do that right now.
Yeah, and this is one of the annoying things about this project is that the annoying things about this project is you have to have like private keys in order for some of the cukes to pass, and that's a real blocker for, well, I don't know. I mean, there's so many things that are a mess. Right, I'm just seeing here, look, with this test that this student has got, I'll say, okay. Right, he's actually stubbing the database there. Okay. So, all right, so what he's done here is he's using Factorial to create the actual movies. And then he's stubbing
stubbing the movie class.
So that this here, this is going to run against this, but I think in his controller, because he's doing it through this GET request, I'm not sure. I mean, he's sort of, he's got a belt and like he's like basically with the factory girl here.
Right.
You don't need to use factory. I mean, does create a real movie? It's a create or build. But basically, he's sort of inserting it into the database, and then he's like stubbing the movie as well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. I'm just gonna send. Yeah. So I'm kind of I'm confused now between. So the fact that everything else is now failing makes me think that the I've rolled back. What have I got there? Oh my goodness. Okay, let me back up one. Git check out there. I'd just like to get back to the previous error. Excuse me. Okay. All right. Now that's the 40 that I was getting before that I expected. Just going to give. Okay, so now the interesting thing there is that's on 40, and I get the fatal error with the submission, which is like an intermittent timeout. Previously, when I had this set for, oh good God, where are we? Features this thing. When I had this set for, yeah, this is saying we should receive a grade of 40. I mean, it's getting 0. Okay. So we're now, right, okay. So even though I backed out, is that because I'll tell you the other thing that I changed briefly is that this is down to, is the timeout, put that on 60. Slow. Okay. Okay, right. Here we go.
Okay.
So this is the error that we're getting on the grader, replicated here. I wonder if I can scroll forward again now. Git, I don't remember which branch I was on. Git checkout.
So
Go on.
there's the coverage issue and there's the grade issue, right?
Well, the grade here. Well, there may be multiple issues here. I mean, this is giving.
It looks like he's only getting cut. Like he's only getting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, what maths is being used here particularly? I mean, he's
I
guessing.
mean, that's 40 out of 40 for the cubes.
Cubes and 0 out of 20 for the failed coverage test.
It doesn't
there.
say.
And then maybe he's getting 0 from the specs because they don't pass.
Right, and the failure of the specs is kind of silent.
Well, it's saying spec fail, yeah, but he's also not getting the information about it.
Now, on Aaron's branch, we were getting a message saying basically that, Factory Girl was not found.
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by on Aaron's branch.
I mean, his the one that he had originally deployed.
Yeah, and I think
the original bug report.
And yes, certainly the Aaron's branch on master was displaying that, and I think we were also getting that locally on our Aaron's branch on production, which wasn't master, but also I think that the
What?
Sorry, I'm just I've had enough coffee or too much coffee. Also, I think on master, I think we were experiencing the same failure.
Yeah,
because we were working against master. It wasn't until later on that we kind of connected to the production grader and found that it was on a different setup. But anyway, let's just hear. But so what's particularly fascinating about this? It's a sort of an exercise in insanity. I'm just going to get back onto where I am on the branch. Because I think that timeout was obscuring what was going on. Is that if I go into the directory where the submission is and I rerun the tests, everything passes. It's all green.
Even with that re-expect that is the special one.
Yeah, exactly. So here, and I've also set up some new. So you can see here, right? This is it failing in the right way. We should expect it to be 100 because we think this guy's passed, but we're getting all of the failures. At the moment now, if I get status here, do we still? Is it still? And this is, let me just go and click in here in the homework for grader stuff. Okay, so yeah, and this is like even having removed the migration that adds those things. Hello, Rose. Even having removed the migration that adds those things, it doesn't sort the problem for us. But so if we look here, we can see. So in assignment 4 here, basically this is what we've just run. This is the current time for me. So if I reveal that in the Finder, I've just got it set up with this new thing where I can now go to open this directly, new terminal tab at folder. So this is the submission folder that the grader was working with against. That makes sense, right?
You're right.
So I can then do, exactly that command that the grader did. I mean, what we can just do first, quickly, is we can check. We can do SQLite database, the test environment, and we can just have a look here, and we can do select star from movies, and see that there's no content in there, which is good. We can also here in the coverage directory, we can have a look at, and I'll bring that over onto this screen. Come here. meh. We can see that this is what the grader, it's like, oh yeah, the tests associated with these things in ordering failed. That's why, like the results that we got from here, yeah, that we're
Yeah.
also seeing in the main grader, basically, yeah, I mean it's that's the state of it. However, if we now rerun that command that the grader runs, which is, where is it gone? Not that one, this one, and we run that in this directory like so, then I think what we'll see is that it's all green and all very happy.
Right.
And
So
but I notice now, look, if we open the coverage directory, it's completely green.
so either there's a timing issue or the
Right.
command is not idempotent or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, what I was seeing from the nature of the error is that very much so it seemed like this additional data was being added to the database. And that was the difference between the situation that the student was running it in and we were running their code and it all seemed to be green, and then when the grader was running it. So that was my working hypothesis, right? That
But
having
now it works.
but now we're still getting kind of exactly the same sort of failure, even though I've removed the migration that creates the that contents of that additional data. I mean, and so for example here, we can put like a debug statement in there and go back to here, and now I'll run. We can run the grader again. The grader will stop before the point at which it's about to run these tests, which is there. I now go to look for the new submission directory that it's created. I reveal that in the Finder. I open that in a new terminal tab over here. So, and we can just go in here. Probably it's going to crash before we can do anything else. But so here I want to go SQLite 3. It's going to. I should have set it to like 60,000 or something like curses. Anyway, but let's go in here and we do select star from movies. There's nothing in there. But so, oh my God, that's still in there. If we run that here, it's green there. See, that was where I was previously seeing the error. Now, actually, of course, here what's happened is that we'll have to do that over. The way I was able to reliably see it was I was putting this timeout to something ridiculously large. Start this over again. Now, interestingly, here I've had this problem before. I type anything, nothing happens. I've worked out you can type reset, and it resets, and you can start typing again. Woohoo! And you get your history back. A huge step forward for me. Rose, I'm not sure if you're following along. This is like an extraordinarily insane insanity. But then you're used to that working with students. So. But the grade is like, oh my God, what's going on? Anyway, so here we go again. New directory there. Hangouts notifier. Okay. Ooh, that looks like other things working in the background. Reveal that in the Finder. Open that in a new terminal tab. So we're here. So this is the directory where it should be about to run the bundle exec.
Mm-hmm.
What have you. And
you're muted, Rose, if you're trying to say anything.
So it sort of stopped here. It's on the cusp of doing that. I mean, but yeah, maybe it's just a timing issue in that this is running maybe just by pausing it here in the debugger, we've allowed something else to complete.
Are there system commands, obviously, that are... Because everything that would be executed by Ruby would be paused, right? Presumably.
Yeah. So see here, this is running like this, and it's if we open the coverage, so coverage there, right, is as we would imagine it to be, given that we've just removed this migration that adds this other stuff. Although I think there's problems with the student code that we've got to look at as well. Although it's
so if you just put sleep 0.5 in there, does that make everything happy?
Well, we'll see. I mean, the interesting question now is like
just try putting sleep 0.5 in there.
We could do. I just want to. If we do this, if we step through this and run the command, so this is there. It's kind of like it's running the command, and I guess it's blocking on it. So it should be now doing that in the background. So they've kind of run there. It's timed. Yeah. So now that's finished checking the student tests. Yeah. Now in this directory, if we have a look again at the coverage, look at that. It's gone down.
Huh.
It's still behaving. I mean, I can't see the error, annoyingly. And sometimes it fails. It also loses helper coverage. But I can see here that the places where it's failing are on here.
Right.
But so, and then if we continue the grader, it just sort of carries on, does the rest of its stuff. We might still actually have it here give us, yeah. So it's come. But yeah, I mean, what's extraordinarily annoying, of course, is that it doesn't give us the data on the errors there. So
that was Aaron's fix, right?
Well, yeah. Now, there's Aaron's thing
Working on, but
that he's working on, and we're not sure if he's actually fixed it or not. I mean, he's got this separate pull request, hasn't he? Here, this is the homework for silent failure, and he's been talking about this. I mean, I've tried pulling these. Yeah, it's not clear to me if he's actually fixed it.
So, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing, I think, independently of how much further progress, for your student rows, and possibly the more valuable thing than anything about the grader, is if we look at your students' code rows, there is a sort of a fundamental kind of mixing of things that the student is doing here. So Rose is saying her headset doesn't work. So Rose, if you'll notice, your student here, they use Factory Girl in the setup for these tests. This is the test that the grader fails them on. And they use Factory Girl to create and populate the database, right? But then they also stub the model. They stub the movie model here. So this is one of the ones that the grader fails them on. Is that this expectation is expecting, and let's can I do this, because I've got the movies controller here. So in the movies controller, what this is related to, so this is like a test where it should sort movies by title, and so this comes through. Anyway, it's going to, in here, it's going to make a query on the database to get certain stuff out. Now, so that is what is going to be available to the assigns movies thing here, right? but it's going to compare that. It's going to do this matching array thing with a query against the movie model, but that query against the movie model is not hitting the database. It's being snubbed. So potentially what there is a mismatch, because this request goes over the wire, so to speak, I think. I mean, I have to say that, you know, I superficially would have thought that stubbing movie like this, wait a second, actually, wait, yeah, this is stubbing movie to do the order thing, but notice that movie's not stubbed for where. So this will really hit the database, but this won't. So what's happening with the student's code here is that they're testing that effectively the state of the database is the same as what they've stubbed it. Now, to the extent that nothing else is going on with the database, it so happens as a result of the combination of their factory girl and their stubbing that this will work normally. But if anything else is happening with the database, and it certainly seems like the grader is playing with the database in order to do various bits of testing and this and the other, then this test can fail. So it's kind of a brittle test. And of course, that doesn't mean that the grader should behave like this. Ideally, the grader should explain to the student, you've written a brittle test, and, you know, notice this thing. And like, yes, you want to be doing either a unit test where you're stubbing everything, or you want to be an integrations test when you're going through all to the database. But of course, the big problem comes down to it makes it incredibly difficult to debug because the grader hides the actual failure. So but so the funny thing is, it seems like having removed the part of the grader that does this additional. If we look here, no, not there. If we look back in, not that one, the place where I put all my notes. If we look back in here, so there was a point before where I was able to get the actual error out on the console, and here it is, right? And so this is why I was indicating that. So why I thought this is the spec that's failing, because I actually managed to get it appearing on the thing there. So if we look, that's 108. It's exactly that line failing there. And so what it ends up doing here is it says, like, you know, I expected to get this stuff, which is like Star Wars, which is the stuff that has been created by your student. There, starts with Star Wars. And it says actually it's got all of these it's got these extra elements in the database that I didn't expect, and that Aladdin stuff. And that Aladdin stuff is created by this additional migration that comes from the grader. I don't know why it tries to add that additional data in there. It's very confusing. Presumably there was, if it doesn't do something now, it did something in the past, but so but there's something else. The only way I've managed to reliably reproduce it is when I had, look here, look at the commits in the pull request. Ask a rag, pull request, this one, commits. So this is the one. Yeah, this is the thing. I don't know if I can just restore this file, because those things I want all that way. So this is the is there a git restore operation? Git restore deleted file. One command. Blech. Can I just do? I just want like a git restore command. Why can't I have that?
I mean, you deleted a file.
Yeah, because I mean, that was my. I mean, maybe the simplest thing actually here is just to. This is.
You could just.
I just recreate it. If I just view the file, view the whole file. Like this is the. Come on, file. This is a file.
Huh.
So here we have here. That's the file. So if we have this file, we run this. Get hooked on the debugger. To go back in here, go to the latest one. Reveal that in the Finder. Open that in a new terminal tab. So I can start getting really well. It's a new one. So here, now if we do SQLite here, like so, and we do select star from movies, these are the right, this is the stuff, yeah? Aladdin, stuff, what have you. And then here, if we do our bundle exec, oh God, rake, what is it? It's bundle exec rake sas run student tests. Bundle exec rake sas run underscore student underscore tests. Like so. We should reliably get the error. Can I have the error, please? I'd like to see the error. There's the error. Yeah, and we can open the coverage, and we can see the coverage is 100%, which I'm kind of confused about. I guess maybe that doesn't generate the coverage. That's weird. I'm kind of surprised. Okay. So maybe the coverage problem is actually coming from somewhere else then. So maybe there's two problems here rather than one. I mean, the interesting thing here is that these failures, I guess when I think about it, I mean, look, when the output here, the coverage report, it's gone to 100. I mean, we've also got this message here about the RSpec having failed, which is what I assume is the so after that doesn't run again though, does it? I mean, so the other, what is it also? There's also the environment variables. Sorry, this is, so the sequence of things that happen here. Yeah, the environment variables of the Rails end test are there. And I guess the only other difference that we've got there is that it's Rails env equals test, and we've got also Rails root equals pwd. Oh, it's Rose making some comments on it. Rose is saying, yeah, but on the yes, I think that the yeah, I think that you're absolutely right, Rose. That I mean I mean the pedagogical thing ultimately is that really understanding the difference between the isolated tests and the integration tests and so on. I think the homework. It's interesting. I mean, I was someone who's coming through from the edX course and coming in here and talking about how the course was much better than a lot of other online offerings, but I still feel like there's so much further to go in order to really get these concepts across effectively. It's I don't know, or reliably. So no, not that one. This one. We can see here it runs this in this environment like that. Yeah, and it still says 100% coverage there. This is because here, this is me trying to simulate what the grader does in the directory that it's supposed to do it, so I can actually see the output. And the presence of these errors hint that about what's going wrong, but maybe it's actually something different. So having run that there, yeah, that thinks, because even if the test fails, it still counts towards the coverage. Like the movies controller there, it's like, yeah, you hit all the stuff, yeah, what have you. But when this runs it, what was this pass test student output there? Yeah, I mean, it's ironic is that, yeah, I mean, it's just, you see this thing, it's kind of basically this rake task to run student tests. All it does is it runs the cucumber and the aspect together and wraps them in this text that then it uses to pass the stuff out, which is just, I mean, I guess it's trying to isolate the student code from the running thing. But ironically, this is already isolated. This entire thing is running in a runner block that's isolated in a fork. But that maybe came after that was anyway. But so again, we've still got the grader hooked on this. We can kind of move forward, and this open 3, I guess, is going to open a new. I guess it's a thread. What happens to so that the output and the error output? Where do they end up? Yeah, so the output there goes through this parse student test output, and it grabs the contents of that. Okay. Into Cuke and RSpec. Oh, so we could have a little look at them afterwards. So let's jump over them. So this is it
Can you hear
now.
me now?
I can hear you now. Hey, Rose, how you doing?
Oh, better now that I've got some microphone working.
Yeah, your microphone working.
Yeah, although I'm going to talk as little as possible because I don't have my headset mic, so it echoes.
Okay. Not a problem. Yes, I was going to say, and I've now jumped out too far from where I want to be. Oh well. Now why did as I did there when I hit next from that? Oh no, it went straight over to logs. Yeah, yeah. Well, if we well anyway, but we've the it's now run here. We can. It's still got those things in the database, but now if we open the coverage, now that's dropped. So basically, from running it here, even with the errors, one thing, where it had 100% coverage, with what I was thinking is the same command using the same environment, in the greater context, it produces a different result.
Or is that EMV the same? Is that really the same?
Well, I mean, that ENV that it's, I mean, I guess what I should do here, really, what I particularly want to do is I want to look at the contents of, I should put a by-bug statement in there. Let's continue this and start it again. I mean, it's, I did start building my own grader from scratch the other day, actually, just to see if that would be faster. So we run to there. That's at the beginning of it. I guess it's, you know, let's not worry about checking it again. Oh, well, let's look at what the env is. Env here, yeah, I mean, it's basically setting Rails env test and Rails root. So that's what I was simulating here with this. Yeah. I don't know if there's a good way to sort of drop in here and work out what's actually run there beyond that. I don't know, Michael, if you want to look up this Open3, if there's some additional, there's some sort of side effects on that you want to see if there's anything. I mean, if we continue this now, what I'm hoping is it will stop at the next by bug after that's been run by the grader in the state that it's in. I'm hoping. No. So the interesting thing there, and I wonder, I mean, that sort of implies if that didn't stop on that by bug, is there some kind of error being thrown here that we're not seeing? Because when we were...
How many things are you passing to POpen3? Actually, just let me.
Yeah, well, it's just that...
Okay. Yeah, that looks... Oh.
I mean, what's funny is that when I... And then maybe then the debugger interaction with this thing, who knows? But so the funny thing is, when I continue from that thing, the next point that it leads me to is like, is that what's the line number? Is like that was this is the previous run where I jumped from this, and the next thing it basically it exited this method. It didn't go into a thing, did it? I assume that. Oops.
So if you put a by bug inside that block, right?
I mean, I sort of assume that's not going to work. We could certainly try it.
I'm wondering, because you're able to pass in standard in and standard out, if that's actually able to talk to it or not. It probably won't.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth trying it. Yes, I might. Yeah, no, let's okay, like this. We can look at other things. Let's step it through there and look at max score. I mean, I think what I would really like to do, I don't know if there'll be time, but is for the homework 4, is kind of go back. I mean, I don't know. What I would love to be able to do is to work out what are the actual things that the students are supposed to be learning from homework 4, and work out what they are, and put them up front and center, and then redesign both the assignment and the grader such that they achieve those objectives. That's what I'd really like to do. We'll step through this here. We've got max score. It's a bit bigger. Yeah. Next. Duke. Have been set to be the empty string. There, we've got things like raw max. Yeah. Now I can do step. And so then I can kind of like step through the options of the open 3 thing. So presumably that's where it actually starts running whatever. There's that internal block that we've added a bybug statement to. But yeah, see, it just ends up popping out again here. Now, I guess basically the interesting thing here is that this whole thing ends with like Qt and RSpec are adjusted to parse the student test output. It does all of this work, but maybe it's doing and so on. It logs it or whatever, but then none of it seems to be stored in any kind of instance variable.
Well, how about we log it?
Well, I mean,
we could log it, right?
Well, in principle, we are, or at least.
No, I mean, are we interested in what's inside that popen thread? Popen3?
I mean, I think we would like to see what the contents of out and are. Well,
why don't we log them?
Well, my only reason for not immediately leaping and doing that is just that the logging system seems to be rather temperamental in that it doesn't display anything unless like things are flushed or what have you.
Well, what if we just write a file like the stupid way?
Yeah, we could do. I mean, like for example here, like while we're in the. I mean, I think I have increased.
I mean, we don't have to use their logging system if you don't like it. We could just write a file.
We could. I just wanted to show you here. So this is what their. I mean, I think that their logging system is, it's just the Ruby logging system underneath the hood. But we can see here, like this is from the previous runs that's come out. On the current run, like if we look at the most recent things here, we can see that the current logging thing, while we're paused on the debugger, it doesn't have anything in it. Yeah, we certainly can try that. I guess what I'm just seeing, so the only thing that comes back from this check student test is the @raw score. So I just wanted to see here. So there's basically all this stuff has gone on potentially, or maybe it's been skipped because I just don't know. And all it comes on is then it raw score. And so then it has this check code coverage, which basically starts reading this coverage index file and processing that coverage index file into what I think we eventually see being printed out. We've got this dump output, and we get the comments there. Right, dump output is that comments are all mashed together. I mean, we could be logging it. I would just be almost tempted to pass back a variable. Like I could just, even like I could put here, for example, cuc, comma rspec, like this, and that's in principle the stuff being. I mean, the cuc and the rspec, yeah, that's being passed back from there, and I could just, slip in here like check student tests, and I could say array equals there, right? And I could rerun like that, and I could see what array was. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So if I just continue there, it runs the SAS run students tests. And then it pops out to the top level? No. It's like it doesn't want us to see. It's playing with us. It's playing with us. That's interesting. What about if we do, I mean, I guess that's, if we remove all of the bybug statements from in there, and we try and get it to just stop here at the point there where we might see the array. I have a feeling it will just run through and it won't let us see it at all. The array has nothing in it. So, well, that was my attempt, which has failed. And I guess sensibly, So what were you thinking? You were thinking, Michael. What should we do? We should try and like write these things to a file at some point.
Yeah, I mean we could, but
I mean,
if they have a representation, but
I mean, if like in this context here, have we rewritten the? Like,
so I mean, what are we actually trying to debug at the moment?
Well, at the moment, like there seems to be some difference in the way that.
Is it coverage we're trying to debug?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we're also trying to see. I mean, it had seemed to me earlier that we were trying to debug these errors. Like these errors are not always seen, and they're seen like when the student's code is merged with the grader code. And I seem to have been able to eliminate these errors by making some changes, but that hasn't made the coverage issue go away, and there's also still a spec failed being reported. So maybe there's a different kind of error that we haven't been able to see yet, and there's clearly some kind of knock-on coverage issue. And it seems to be that if we run this task, in the directory that we run it manually, it has a different behavior than when the grader runs it.
Right.
But annoyingly, the output from the task that the grader sees, we haven't yet been able to see. And if we could see it, then maybe there would be a hint as to.
So why don't we just print the out and the?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Like this is the output here. I mean, I guess I don't necessarily need to do it.
Not puts, but well.
I mean, that was what I was just sort of asking to myself: is are we redirecting the standard output, you know, already? Um, I mean, I guess there's no harm in, at least trying
Yeah, we'll
that.
see.
Um, I mean, it's I mean, there's another way to. Can we like just exit the whole system at that point? I'm also a bit confused about. Yes, and that's. It doesn't appear to be helping us.
So
I mean, I'm also a little bit confused because I guess all of this is supposed to be run when this command finishes.
wait, so lines 186 and 187.
Uh-huh.
What are they?
I mean, you can see that like standard out and like basically we're running this command,
yeah.
and then we've got a series of variables here that we're passing a block.
I understand that. Go on.
Yeah.
Now, logging error.
I mean, I guess. Oh, maybe. I wonder. Does that need to go here? Maybe. Okay, maybe that's the problem. If we're hitting here, the exit status is returning as non-zero, and basically then everything else is just going, hey, well, who gives a fuck? Anyway, while that's thinking about it, so Rose, mm, yes. So that's looking like that's the original factory girl problem.
Yeah.
And so let's see. Now that should have been fixed by the fact that we've added factory girl rails to the homework for grader. And that was also a cause of some we can see here. See, now why would factory go? Is that because no, the gem file I've run it in here. Factory.
So
Go on.
if you go into that rake task that we're running.
Oh, the this one.
Okay. And then go back
To
where we were. Factory
homework
to
14.
the code. Okay, right.
Yeah, here.
So I guess what I'd like to understand better is this P open 3. It seems like maybe,
I mean, it's part of the basic Ruby stuff.
Right. Yeah, I know that, but it's also apparently some kind of widely used standard because I'm seeing results for it on PHP and Python. Right. So it must be some system level thing. But what exactly?
Well, I think I mean, and this is reading from the documentation, Open3 grants you access to standard in, standard out, standard error, and a thread to wait for the child process when running another program. You can specify various attributes, redirections, current directory. Yeah. So, as I understand it, by calling popen3, we're basically saying, please run this command in a different process on the system. And then basically hang around and wait for the process to finish, and basically execute this block with the these very and you'll have access in that block to various things related to that process. So we can, in principle, we can talk to the process. I mean, that sounding obviously seems.
It's not clear to me how that's.
Not clear to you what?
No, I mean, I'm just saying how I'm not clear how that process is different than opening a terminal window.
No, indeed. Well, and in principle,
they appear to be different in some way.
They do, and they shouldn't be. I mean, yeah. I mean, this one here is running in the context. As far as I can tell, I mean, I guess what we should do there is just run that again. That's the wrong thing. If we run that again, and we look at that, and then
run.
Let's just check the directory in which it's working. So env here, that tells us that the Rails route is this. I guess, does that specify what I mean, we're setting the Rails route as that. I don't know how that's going to impact the operation of this bundle exec. Like, which directory should it directory current directory? I mean, the open3, we've got popen3. I mean, the funny thing is here with that env thing. I mean, what version of Ruby are we even using in this project? It's 2.2.2. Okay, I'm just going to find the precise docs for Ruby 2.2.2 for open3 popen3. This one appears to be 2.21. Okay.
Did you guys see my message?
What?
Oh, you have to be off. Oh, okay. Rose, I was just going to say. So, I mean, I'm off for the next 10 days, as you probably saw in my message.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean,
I wish you and your son the best.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Hopefully, it's nothing serious, and he's going to be right as rain.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, fingers crossed. Should be all good. Yes. Anyway, so I kind of thought, right. I will try and get this problem sorted because I assume this is the main issue for you, and nothing else in particular has come up since this.
No.
No. Okay. Yes. So if we can finish and sort this out, but anyway, I'm feeling. Yeah, I'll leave it up to you and Richard to have what meetings you have in the next 10 days. Yeah, I'll catch up with you soon.
No problem. Yeah, great. And I'll be looking at the entirety of the video.
Great. Well, and what I also mentioned is Marvin is still continuing to sort of send individual messages to me to try and work things out, and I'm kind of trying to move him back into the Autograders channel and make it more of a transparent conversation, and maybe that will just alienate him, and I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah,
anyway, but let him know that the next 10 days I'm just I'll be very happy to try and take it up with him again. In about 10 days.
No problem.
All right. Thanks, Rose. Take care. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye for now. So yeah, I'm just looking at this popen3 documentation, and it seems to. What's weird is the block form. Yeah, the block form has an optional env at the beginning. It's weird. Look at this.
Go on.
So it's got like a optional env thing there, and then command, and then opts.
Huh.
Start external executable. There's nothing there that sort of tells it about what directory it's going to work in. This version here, like okay, that's the command pwd.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure what directory it's running in. We're giving it the environment to run in that environment there, which I can. And in this context, I mean, this is the new one that it's just created. If we do the gem file has factory girl Rails in it. It's run bundle without production in this context. If we look at the gemfile.log, it has factory girl in it.
Yeah.
But if it's running in that directory, it should have access to factory girl. But the output that we get here suggests that it doesn't.
So what if you type pwd and
well, I would need to do it inside the thing. I mean, pwd there.
Inside the rake task, right?
Yeah, and what I could do.
What you could do is go inside the rake task and type.
That's true. I was just going to do puts pwd here.
Okay.
Or we could also inside the rake task is also good. So okay, so we're there. We can do actually pwd here. So it's kind of, you know, that looks like. Well, now that's interesting. I guess actually, yeah, we've already, like earlier on in here, we've already changed into this temp directory here. So we're in the directory. We're in the directory. I mean, I guess, you know, in principle from here, you know, I could even do this. And yeah, there, like that's interesting. So starting a new process there runs and it has a problem with factory girl.
Interesting.
Purely from having done that. But so if I run bundle there, I don't see factory girl. And if I run more gem file from here, just say factory girl Rails in it though. But if I do bundle exec gem list grep factory, it finds nothing.
Huh.
So for some reason, the gem environment that it's operating in there seems different somehow. What has it done in setup Rails app? So we've the funny okay. I think the problem is that it's running this setup process in a different environment, and that finishes, and then it starts again to run this, and that's a completely different environment again. So it hasn't pulled in the other things that it needs. So the implication there is that we could, in principle, fix that error by doing this.
What is you just put it in the root of the grader?
Yeah. And then we would need to do bundle here. And it's just from like what other sort of gem file environment could it be trying to do there? So if we're in this context here, now if I do bundle exec gem list grep factory, it's there. And then go on.
What directory are you in though?
Well, at that point, we're in the directory. So okay, so now it gets this other failure here, but it doesn't get no factory girl.
Right.
So there was 2 levels of errors there.
Yeah.
But so the directory that we're in, you know, this submissions directory.
Mm-hmm.
But when this runs this bundle exec here,
yeah,
this is running it, like this might as well have not run. And in fact, that might that leaves a trace on the system. But I think conceivably the more reliable fix would be to pull this into here. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this in principle installs all of the necessary gems, but I think it does so kind of like in a separate process, right? And so when this runs bundle exec here, this shouldn't make a difference. What did it put out as the print working directory from there? Maybe that's in the wrong directory. It puts out the working at least when the process finishes, the working directory is there.
Yeah.
And I think we checked it beforehand. It's in the right place. But for some reason, I've got all of those gems installed. So in principle, running bundle exec in the directory with that gem file and that gem file.lock should mean that this process should have access to all of them.
So what if you puts that gem list command or whatever?
Right, but I think that it's, you know, I was sort of doing, rather than doing puts of there, just I can run the command, like when I pause on the debugger in that context, I can run any command, and it's the equivalent of doing the puts on it. Like at this point in that, I guess, well, I would see, you know, like, so if we're here and I run the process, I mean, we effectively here. I mean, I need to finish in the next. Oh crap! I know I had karate. Oh god.
You have karate?
Well, I've missed it now. Okay. Bar. Oh dear.
Are they going to take away your black belt?
Well, I only have an orange belt, so.
It's going to take you another 5 years to get a black belt now.
Probably. Yeah. Badla. I'm just going to message my karate instructor. I know. And then my kids are going to. But anyway, so for example, in here, like, if we look at this, you know, it thinks we're in this directory. I can look at the contents of the gem file in this directory. It has factory girl Rails, right? But if I run the gem list here, it doesn't have factory girl Rails. Or it does now because I've added it to the you know, the base thing. But this gem list that it's giving me. Sorry, I was gonna get guys on a guy. Arthur, not for you. Oh. Onegai, please stop. Oh dear. But like, you know, the contents of this gem file list, you know, the last time around, it didn't. It only has this now. You know, the last time we did it here, it didn't have factory girl. You know, and anyway, for some reason, at this point, the kind of, I don't know, because the parent process has got some kind of gem environment that's affecting the child process. So, I mean, what it means is that the basic fix, which we can put on the grader, which I guess I can quickly do now, is if we go to the staging grader here, then and add and bundle it, right? And that now, you see factory girl Rails in there? Yeah, factory girl Rails. And then if we do tmux attach and we restart the grader, and in principle, now where have I got the thing? Can I grab the include factory girl? In principle, Rose's students will get their thing. Is it? Oh, state of the problem has changed.
Still won't get very good feedback though.
Well, no. I mean, because they've still got that other problem.
And they've got the coverage issue, right?
Oh God, I always do this. Come on. What's that? Am I not logged in? Why have I not? Oh, Christ. Okay, and I think it's removed the. Oh, good mother of God. Oh. Where's that setting for? Is it in grading? Oh. That's just ridiculous, isn't it? Yes, come here, the chat button, choose files. Okay. I'll be back in a second. Oh dear. Okay. Are you still there? So basically that at least removes the factory girl error.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. And then yeah. So I think I'm gonna leave it there. But so that's, I guess, the thing to just do there is to report to Rose. And say, Rose, we've adjusted the grader for your class to remove all the factory girl errors. Your student, I mean, in principle, now for my local grader here, does this actually now, I guess if we remove that, your student could in principle get full marks if they fix the other brittleness issues we discussed. And so, and that is, if we now take this file and move it out the way, then in principle, this, oh dear. I wonder if you could try and write up something about what we understood happened here in the issue? If it made any sense to you, that is. I mean, so yeah, and if we remove that additional migration,
I'm not sure if I could write it up really.
yeah, I was just reflecting. That's maybe. Anyway, I better run. I'll be back for more pairing on April 4th, basically.
All right. Well, hopefully your son's okay.
Yeah, and you know, do have fun with whatever stuff you plan to do in the meantime.
All right.
All right. Bye for now. Take care.
Bye.
Cheers.